If you're a My Hero Academia fan, it's a great time to be alive because they just released a 5-page one-shot, pretty much tying up all the loose ends and just kind of showing like where are they now for our characters after everything concluded in the finale of the manga, the last chapter, I should say. And it's really really cool. Like, so just to start it off, right, guys? Deku's official hero name is the One for All Hero Deku. That is so cool. Like they show a panel of him, Bakugo, and Shoto just kind of like flying through the city, just on patrol, doing a mission, and it just looks so cool because everything just came full circle. You know, he's in his suit. He looks super super cool, just swinging around like Spider-Man, kind of on a web to mimic his Black Whip quirk, which is super cool. And it's just a fitting name. You know what I mean? And not just that, but Deku has risen from no ranking whatsoever at the end of the manga to, in this 5-page one shot, the number 4 top hero ranking. And guess who's behind him? Bakugo. Bakugo went from 15 all the way to 5, simply due to the fact that Deku's back in business and that rivalry, that spark is back. He's ready to work, he's ready to show up. At number 2, we still have Shoto. They say in the chapter or the pages that he's still a little socially awkward and that he's trying to work on himself. Number 1, we still have Lemillion, and number 3, we have Mount Lady herself. So that's really cool how they just gave an update on those rankings, and Deku, being quirkless but having that dope suit is just still able to do a lot of stuff. And the popularity that he's gained, just from being a hero, and just skyrocketed him to rank 4 on the hero charts. It also goes on to say that Deku still does teach. He's still a teacher at UA. He teaches hero history as well as history itself, which is cool considering, he lived through one of the biggest wars in all of their universe, pretty much, basically. So that's cool that he can teach that and just, kind of just mold the minds of the next generation of quirk users or non-quirk users. I'm sure after Deku got into UA, without having a quirk originally, they'd be like, oh, okay, cool, you don't need a quirk to be a hero, so let's start letting people in the hero course. That's just my headcanon. I know it's not actual canon, but it'd be cool to think about, right? And so that's cool that Deku is still doing his teaching as well as being a number 4 top ranked hero. It also shows Aries showing up to UA. She's a lot older now. She's like pretty much grown up. I think she might be graduated already. Don't quote me. I don't think she is, but maybe. But she visits Aizawa and President Mike at UA, telling them that she's gotten really into music. You can see a guitar on her back in one of the pictures or the panels of the manga. And it's really cool because she's talking to them, saying how she's getting ready to do her show and that she invited Lemillion and Deku, but she's kind of afraid that if they show up, it'll take away from the spotlight of her because they're pro heroes, they're top ranked heroes. So she's like, oh, it's cool if they don't come. I probably would ruin my first show anyway. So they talk about that for a little bit, and then none other than All Might comes out, and we come to find out that he is the vice principal of UA now. So that's really cool. He's still doing his teaching thing. He's being able to shape and mold the minds of, future quirk users and just, having a more hands-on role in UA. So I thought that was a neat little thing that they threw in there. And, it just goes to show that you don't have to be a hero to be making an impact on people's lives. Being a teacher and educator is also really valid in this universe. They also go on to say that Bakugo did eventually get his card signed by All Might, and he cherishes it a lot. Like, just kind of fangirling over the signature because, think about it. You have like a PSA 1 Charizard, not PSA 10 Charizard first edition, right? You get that signed. Oh my god, that's crazy. I'd be geeking out, right? So that's cool that, he got to get his hero signature on his favorite card from when he was a kid. They also say that Monoma, right, the copy hero, and Bakugo have formed somewhat of a friendship because when Monoma saw Bakugo, spoiler alert. So if you haven't seen the anime yet or you haven't read the manga, when Bakugo, dies against Shigaraki, Monoma saw that, and then they kind of just brought them closer together somehow, is what they say in these these little 5-page one shots. And I just thought, that's pretty cool that they threw that in there. So we'll see how that goes and, like if they expand on it in any future iterations of the story or what. So these last bits of things, right, they kind of just hit on All Might. Like they're talking about his top speed, which they said was Mach 10. And if you guys don't know how fast Mach 10 is, it's insanely fast. So that's really, really cool that they just kind of touch on that. It gives, I guess, scalers, something to work off of. And they also talk about All for One. They say that his actual name was Zen Shigaraki. So that's, that's pretty cool, if you really think about it. And they also show Tomura Shigaraki's original quirk that All for One stole. I think it was called Flying Circle from the translations, is what it came out to be. And they kind of show it. I believe it was in chapter 403. You can kind of see the little yellow circle or the circle behind All for One. And they say that is what Tomura's original quirk would have been. So it's kind of cool. They expanded on All for One a little bit. And they talked about, his actual name, which Zen, pretty cool name. And then Shigaraki, that's a big identifier teller right there. And those are pretty much most of the things that were covered in this. If you guys want like a more in-depth, kind of like analysis on it, let me know in the comments. Or, there's a bunch of other YouTubers on here that go way more in-depth than I did. This is kind of like, hey, this is, where are they now, kind of. And if you guys enjoyed this video, you want more anime-related content, just comment down anime in the comment section down below, as well as let me know who your favorite anime character is, and what do you think of this 5-page one-shot? Do you think it's cool? Do you think it really lends a hand to the original ending that was in the manga, or do you think the original ending was fine the way it was? I think it's cool. I think it's awesome that Deku's able to rise up through the ranks, as well as, become a number 4 pro hero. That's really, really cool. Just with his suit, it shows that, as long as you're determined and you have those abilities and, the brain power to adapt and overcome those situations, anything's possible. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. I'm Ben Kai. Be sure to like this video, follow if you aren't already, and comment down below what you thought and what I can improve on. I'll see you on the next one. Later.